We are brought to you today by Smooth My Balls. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, are you sick of cutting yourself, nipping yourself with those old razors that you've used 412 different times? Well, Smooth My Balls has you covered. Your number one source for male grooming products. Dedicated to providing you the very best trimmers with an emphasis on service, friendliness, and overall good experiences. Smooth My Balls has come a long way from its beginnings in England. When they first started out, their passion was for male grooming. That drove them to start their own business and to find the best products suitable for easy grooming. You will thank me later, your privates will thank me later, and your partner will thank me later, because you're gonna be smooth as an egg. Trust me. Use code POP at checkout for 15% off your entire order. Limit one order per household per day. Guys, girls, get on it. Shave up. Get it. We are brought to you today by Kai CBD, a Las Vegas-based health and wellness brand that crafts a full-spectrum CBD hemp-derived product line. Made with 100% love, the brand was created by a 20-year licensed massage therapist for her husband who suffers from chronic pain. Healing is what Kai lives for. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram and mention Pop Culture Corner to receive 10% off your order of all or any of their CBD-derived product line. Guys, their website is in the works. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram. The links are in the description below. Mention Pop Culture Corner and get 10% off. This ad is an easy one for me. Easy, as I use the products myself. They are wonderful. So head over, mention Pop Culture Corner, and get 10% off your order of all orders forever. Whoa, good morning, everybody. Wow, I feel like we haven't done this specific show in a long time.
I know, it feels like it's been a long time since we've been here.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to the morning show podcast live. We're here. We're ready. Got the coffee in, got the energy up. And before we get into our subjects today, make sure to smash the like button on this video. Subscribe if it's your first time here. Welcome. We love you. We do it for you, and we do it for the culture. And then consider becoming a member. Hit that join button below if you're on a browser, or click the link in the description. It'll bring you to a browser, and you can join one of our 3 tiers and support the show, gain exclusives, all that jazz. I figured today, there's been a lot of not developments, but there's been some stuff going on. So I wanted to take today, and I wanted to talk about the future of the DCEU and what could potentially be restoring the Snyderverse. So
yes.
It's a topic a lot of people like. It's something that most people are invested in. So, could Warner and Discovery restore the Snyderverse and do what we've all wanted for so long? This new company, they talk about mending relationships and fixing bridges that they may have burned in the past.
Right.
So those things. But before we do it, I just want to let the FBI and everyone know that, we're not trying to infringe on anyone's rights here. So,
right.
Anything that we do is fair use, and we don't look to take away any profits from anybody. Okay. All right. We only seek to educate and commentate and review, But, before the Snyderverse thing, so that fight was last night.
Yes, the fight, the all-important, ever-determining boxing match of the century. that nobody won.
Yeah. What did you think of that thing?
Oh man, it's at the end of the day, that was you just know that was for money. Mayweather, Logan, they made tons of money.
Yeah.
I think you said it best. We were talking about it last night, and that this was a win-win for Logan.
Right.
In a sense,
he didn't lose because he didn't
unless he got knocked out. He didn't lose, like you said, yeah.
Right.
So but at the same time, I don't think the kid won in any sense of
no.
Of the word. Yeah.
And I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to get because I do have a lot to talk about with the Snyderverse and stuff.
Yes.
But I figured we could open it up with this just because it's kind of like lackadaisical in a sense. It's nonsense. It's literal nonsense.
It's nonsense. It is. That is the best way to put it.
Jake Paul is out here saying, "My brother beat Floyd Mayweather 50-1. I took your career."
Yeah, no, that's what he said. Your career. I'm like,
yeah, your brother did not win, but he didn't lose either. Like you could use different phrasing and be fine. I'd be okay with it. But you're saying that your brother won the fight. That no.
And I'll say this: I have a lot more respect for Logan after that, for sure. Like the fact that he lasted 8 rounds. I mean, yeah, kid looked exhausted after those 8 rounds. But you know what? I got respect for him. He stayed up, and Floyd has respect for him. But I mean, yeah, like you said, there's this kid Jake just takes it to the next level, and is just lying at this point.
Yeah, we had 1,100 people watching that with us last night. And for anyone who wants to know, before we get into our main topic of the day, so we got taken down. Someone reported us on Twitch. We had like 800, eight something people in there throughout the night, and then someone reported us on Twitch right as the main card was starting. So then Billy, this champion right here, gave us his Twitch, and then we ended up racking up almost 1,200 people on his Twitch for that fight last night, and we gained 20 different subscribers for being nice and doing that for everybody. So we had a good time last night regardless. It was fun. But yeah, so let's transition into the only topic that matters in life. The only thing
in general
that we care about. Mr. Zack Snyder and what the future of the DCEU is. Now, guys, I would like you to engage with us on this. I would like you to speak your mind. I would like you to let me know what you think. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Zack gets brought on board to help this new interconnected universe that DC plans to throw at the wall against Marvel's cinematic universe, right? Yes. Marvel's cinematic universe is in the heat of its flux. It's definitely the thing to beat, right? It's not the first interconnected universe out there, but it is the one that most people recognize when it comes to crossovers and stuff like that.
Correct.
Right? First off, I would like to know, did they make the right call bringing Zack in the first place? Do you think that they made the right call? Like, and I know this is a weird question, but do you think that they didn't know what Zack was going to go with it? Like, do you think that, I mean, they've seen Zack's movies before, right?
Right. I mean, I don't know. I think it was, personally, right? I love the movie. So personally, I'm going to say, yeah, so it was the right call. I think here's the thing, right? Zack wanted to not necessarily adapt, but make movies based off of the comics and the versions of these superheroes that he personally liked. The Frank Miller stuff from The Dark Knight, the Injustice stuff for Superman, things like that were, and I don't think Warner Brothers expected that when they invited him to go, hey, want to make the Justice League movies, right, or start the DCEU. I don't think that they were expecting him to go towards that route, because I'm hesitant to even say it's darker, because it's not necessarily darker. It's just more adult. it's just more. I think adult is the word to use. It's not dark. It's just it's more for grown-ups. It's not your Marvel family friendly extravaganza, which is fantastic, and Marvel does a great job at. But Zack was definitely coming at it from a whole different perspective, and I don't think the execs necessarily thought like, oh, this was what he had in mind, when they invited him in.
Yeah, and I think that's what the problem is. Yeah. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I want to relate it to something. Is I call it now the WandaVision effect, right? When you get your hopes really, really high.
Yeah.
I think what happened originally was coming out of Watchmen, coming out of 300, Warner Brothers executives, and then Chris Nolan tells them, I think I have the right guy for this, right? His name's Zack Snyder, yada, yada. I think Warner Brothers got their expectations way high. And then when Zack delivered what he would typically deliver, they were upset with it because they I feel like in their heads, they imagined something different.
Sure. Of course.
And if they wanted that, they should have just done what Marvel did. Marvel does, and bring in some, newer director or someone who will toe the company's line,
right?
And do what they want. Just there for the paycheck, there to make a good, decent film, and will definitely take orders. But that's not who Zack is. So I think Zack was plagued with a disadvantage from the beginning, because he is not a made by committee kind of guy.
No, not at all. And you definitely know. I mean, you remember like at the time, right? 300 and Watchmen at the time, they were shocking, right? For comic book movies, they were pretty shocking. So it does kind of make me wonder too, though. Like, I mean, what else did you expect? Like, Watchmen probably is like full Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Snyder, it's not like Warner Brothers didn't know about those movies. Right. They made them.
They made them. Yeah, they know they were, pretty edgy and pretty shot, and all that.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to wrap my head around like where it went wrong.
I think
why it went wrong.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't think the executives at Warner Brothers wanted him. I feel like it was more of a Chris Nolan thing. That it was more of like a Chris Nolan sticking his neck out, going, "Hey, this is the guy." I don't think it was necessarily anybody at Warner Brothers, because what I like about Chris Nolan, right, is he, Chris has this whole thing of grounding his movies in realism, right, and until you see like Tenet and some of these other things where he really gets extreme, for some reason with his superhero movies, he never went to a even, because I think even superhero movies, right, they can have the fantasy and still keep its realism to a certain extent, right? But you always have to kind of fall into that fantasy a little bit. And for me, the Nolan movies never really had any fantasy to it, right? And that was what Zack just right. And Zack just brought in. He just combined the realism and the fantasy and just killed it, in my opinion. It was the perfect person, I think, to take the reins from the DCEU.
Now, if we could go back in time and tell the Warner Brothers executives one thing, what would it be?
Stay out of Zack's way.
Right. No, exactly. It's not even funny in that respect.
Stay out of his way. Leave him alone. Let him do his thing.
Because I promise you're gonna like the end product when it gets there. Like you can't. And that's the thing that I was thinking about last night is, yes, just stop getting in his way. Stop thinking that you know more than he does. Stop thinking that you know what audiences want, because you don't. You've towed that line and you failed multiple times. So I just think that Warner Brothers needs to realize this is a blank start for them, right? This whole Discovery thing, this is a new start for them. They can literally, they just got the opportunity to rebrand, right?
Yeah.
But with HBO Max and all that, that stuff, with the AT&T stuff, now they're getting another chance to do this again. Not a lot of places have this opportunity where fans will say, "I'll give you one more chance."
Right. And I totally agree. And we'll have to see. Obviously, there's still time to tell, of course. But I think this merger, when it happened, I'll tell you what, I think the possibility of restoring the Snyderverse or this continuing or whatever definitely grew a lot, by a large margin.
Yeah.
Because like you said, these people, the first thing that David said in his statement was, we want to restore the relationships. We want to mend these broken relationships. I mean, because when you have these massive filmmakers that are leaving and that are looking for other studios, or that are publicly not happy, when you have the director of what's supposed to be your biggest tentpole film of the year, Dune, publicly coming out and going, yeah, Warner Brothers just killed the franchise by putting it on HBO Max, and this is a pattern that's been happening not just with Zack, but over the past couple of years. They're in desperate need of a rebrand, and only time will tell if this guy's David Zaslav's words will become truth.
Right. And I mean, so fast forward a little bit, Man of Steel comes out, right?
Yeah.
So Man of Steel comes out, and it's very it's like mixed, right? A lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it, but it still did well at the box office. Not as great as a studio that's looking across the pond at Marvel. But here's the thing that I can't stress this enough. It's like I kind of relate it to Justice, right? Now here's my comparison. Justice wants the prize, but sometimes he doesn't want to work towards it, right? It's like Warner Brothers looked at it like that and said, we want the $1 billion box office return, but we don't want to put the work in. We don't want to have the movies that lead up to those where it's just constant $1 billion returns, right? No, you gotta have these characters around for a little bit. You gotta have audiences invested in their futures or what happens to them, right? Who would have thought there's a world that we live in where we're gonna go see a Black Widow movie, right? I never, when she showed up in Iron Man 2, I couldn't tell you, literally, I would never say that I would have been invested in her future or what happens to her, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And now we're about to go see a movie that's literally led by Black Widow. And that and Marvel knows that people are going to go, I guarantee it makes $1 billion. You know why? Because first off, it's a female-led movie. They're marketing the schmidt out of it towards female audiences, and we see what they do with lackluster films like Captain Marvel, which still made $1 billion somehow. For some reason, I have this feeling that Black Widow is just going to murder it, and that's the world we live in, right? Marvel has got us to a place where we care about all these characters, all these properties, and all these actresses or actors or whoever it is. DC kind of just jumped in and was like, well, don't you care about them? No, not yet. Not yet. Maybe Superman, we've seen him a couple times now, but no one else, right? So
yeah, it's funny actually. I rewatched Man of Steel this weekend. It's kind of funny that we're talking about it. I mean, I think it's incredibly well done, and just I remember at the time there being that big argument, right? Is obviously he kills Zod at the end, and it just wasn't the typical. Definitely wasn't Christopher Reeve Superman. Definitely wasn't Superman Returns, and it just, I think it surprised people. But again, I'm that type of guy that I've always liked. Look, I liked The Last Jedi, so I like my expectations subverted. I like going in and just having everything turned on me,
right?
And also for me growing up, I always thought Superman had been portrayed so like kind of as a wuss on screen. You never had seen like his power, and to see, I know the big complaint was all the destruction, but I was like, yeah, when he's tearing through Metropolis, I was like, yes, this is what it would be like, like all this. So I just thought it was on point. 100%.
Integrity. By the way, welcome or thank you everyone who's up early with us. Billy, Nick, Austin, who I don't know who that is. CAIDEN, Integrity, Nick. You guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know it's early. I know it's earlier than we usually do it, but so he says if a 3-hour BVS hits theaters, 2017's Justice League doesn't happen. Do you agree with that? The way
I do agree. Well, I mean, assuming obviously, yeah.
I'm assuming what he thinks is like, or what he's thinking is, if a 3-hour complete, the Ultimate Edition of BVS hits theaters, we don't have the ruckus and the terrible cut of Justice League.
Correct.
But here's the thing.
I think so.
Autumn was always going to do what she did.
Right. That is obviously, that's the big thing. And that's just where, you know, the studio would have had to,
you know, even if BVS, the Ultimate Edition came out in theaters, right?
Right. And it was successful and all that. Autumn still did. So he would still have to walk away from the movie for a period of time. Period.
Yeah. Now, at that point, would they have delayed it and said, we're sticking with him?
Right. That's the thing. That's where I still don't think, even if that 3-hour cut, because even if that 3-hour cut of Batman vs. Superman came out, what was, you know, the biggest complaint that the Marvel, like, I'll call it the Marvel cultists that, you know, are always complaining about DC, you know, was that it's too dark, the tone and the camera is too dark, you know, so I feel like even then Warner would have been like, we still have that complaint. That's good enough to get rid of them. Find somebody else, you know? It's just Marvel makes movies for everybody and Zack doesn't. That's the thing, right? Marvel makes movies for literally anyone to watch. Almost anybody can enjoy them. Even if you criticize them and hate them, you're still going to enjoy them a little bit. You know, Zack he makes a very specific type of movie. And, you know, I think that at the end of the day, after Warner's realized that he was doing that with the DC universe, that they still weren't happy, even if it would have gotten good reviews. I mean, look at Zack Snyder's Justice League. It got, 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, and he still hasn't heard, HBO hasn't said anything. They haven't told him anything. The most you've heard is that, hey, it's one of the most watched things on HBO. You don't see them bragging about it, or, I mean, which I don't understand why they wouldn't be if it's so well done, you know?
Yeah. He says, the merger is leading to Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. It's decisions like butchering the Zack Snyder's Justice League that led to the merger. It's the worst fumble in cinematic history. That's why Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 is inevitable. I don't know if necessary. So definitely, I understand where you're going with it, right? I don't necessarily know if it's 100% completely the Justice League situation, let's call it a situation in general, that led to this happening. I don't know. I definitely think the pandemic mixed with the way they treated Zack, mixed with a couple other factors, other directors like Nolan, like Villanueva, or however you pronounce it, all that stuff. And then it's like the public perception towards Warner Brothers as a studio is very, like, I guarantee if you surveyed maybe not general audiences, but audiences that have an interest in this stuff, if you surveyed them, their thought process or their perception of Warner Brothers would be really low for the way Warner Brothers treats directors, or at least
even the characters, just the DC IP in general. They don't care. They don't care about the characters, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so obvious.
And it's not like Warner Brothers didn't have a pot to piss in either, right? They have the money to take risks and take chances. It's like they just don't want to look bad, and it's really like that's so childish in a way.
And not even that they don't. It's not even that they don't want to look bad, because they still mess up and look bad, right? It's then that they.
Hi, Prakash.
They backtrack, and instead of, you know, allowing things to fully unfold, they try to jump the gun, and, you know, and they end up ruining things worse than they already are. They're so bad it's not even cool. Exactly, Adam.
Yeah. You know, I just okay. So now we move up to Justice League, right? So we move up to Justice League. We just kind of explained it. The Justice League shoot goes down, and Autumn, you know, tragically does, you know, commit suicide, and Zack tried to stay, but he just, and then but then at that point, Jeff Johns, I believe, was already on set, and then bringing Joss Whedon on set,
right?
And you know, Zack kept finding out that Joss was filming scenes with Jeff's permission. Like, imagine just someone doing that to you. Could you imagine that? That's so weird. Like, you're the director of this
right, and they're doing
big budget movie, and all of a sudden you're involved in this like high school drama where Jeff Johns is sent from the studio, and he brings Joss Whedon into the fold, and now they're directing scenes without you, the director of the movie. Like, what? Like, that's not a good look.
No, it's not. But it's. I mean, it is kind of shocking because you don't hear about that type of thing very often, right? It's kind of funny. There was like a little debacle with Star Wars in that some directors were replaced and footed, but it never exploded like this did. This was just absolutely unheard of. The fact that you have and look, it's the normal job of a producer to supervise the set and to just make sure people are on time and make sure, you know, people are doing their jobs. But to start sending in executives and producers to actually start shooting other scenes and cutting other things and just behind the director's back, I just, up until this point, I can't remember anything like this ever happening, ever. I mean, it was full on. Like you said, it was full. It was like it became like a high school. It was like children, and the way that they treated him, I just it reflects poorly on the director. Yeah, exactly. And not even I wouldn't. It doesn't necessarily reflect poorly on Zack, in my opinion, but more so just on the executives, on the studio, on the people who are running this thing. Because at the end of the day, Zack was just given the budget and the script to make the movie and do. You like
ready? It's all about to come full circle here, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
For Zack, in particular, this ended up being a win-win for him. Not in the sense of his daughter. Let's please take that out. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Right.
Please take that out of that. That's not what I'm saying. He out of this situation, right? Warner Brothers looks bad. He looks good.
Yeah,
his movie did better, way better in my mind than Justice League, right? And now he has an audience that is faithful to literally the sweat on his brow, right? Like, so his audience morale, like, people love him so much at this point because they see what he went through and they relate to him, and he's such a good guy, and I don't care what anyone says. No one was a huge Zack Snyder fan before all this stuff happened.
I was.
Okay, you can like his work, but not like the way it is now, where literally you worship the ground that the dude walks on for films and stuff. Like, yeah, we liked him. I liked him personally. I know I did.
I feel like me and you probably were.
Actually
were part of a small group of people that like.
I was surprised when I found the online presence of other people that liked Zack Snyder.
Up until this, I didn't know anybody else that I didn't actually even seen Watchmen, and I considered that thing like the greatest superhero masterpiece of all time. Like
there are the people like. You guys know the ones I'm talking about. The ones in our community, in our industry.
Bandwagoners.
that are all about Zack Snyder and always have been. No, they haven't.
Yeah.
No, they haven't. Stop lying to me. Stop lying to yourself. Because maybe you liked his films, right? But you didn't. It wasn't like it is now. And that's okay. Like, we went through this with him. You can be. That's okay. We all went through this together. And that's what made us a community. So in the sense of Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul in this situation is Zack Snyder, right? So for him, he took out way more than he was expecting to. And he lasted all 8 rounds, right? Now he has an audience that now when he goes over to Netflix and he makes Army of the Dead, people go just to watch it because his name's on it. That was not the way it was back in previous to this DCEU run. Right. Now, if Warner Brothers and Discovery were smart, they would bring his ass back because they know the audience is coming with him. If you want a way for the DCEU to have that audience like Marvel has, then bring Zack back, even if it's just for one, like the team up movies.
And not only that, I mean, it was pretty obvious, right? The audience grew, the fan base grew with Zack Snyder's Justice. I can't tell you how many people we've had, 2 of them on the show, Paul and Donovan, that did not. Well, Donovan. Donovan did not like the Snyder stuff until Zack Snyder's Justice League, and he's in love with that movie. And now it's like he's like, why the heck aren't they continuing it? You know,
Right.
So there's a lot of people too that even were not fans of these movies until they saw the Zack Snyder's Justice League, and all of a sudden they were like, "Whoa, this is it! This is a hit! You know, this is exactly what we've been waiting for."
Exactly, and so now you have that built-in audience, right? Now you have that built-in group of people that literally they're hinged on what Zack does. They're hinged on being a part of what he's a part of, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It's literally a no-brainer business-wise to bring this guy back and let him do the Justice League movies. Whether or not he does any solo films or yada yada is a different story. But I think you should bring this guy back, have him do the team ups.
I mean, if he loves it enough, I don't know. Obviously, I've never spoken to him or anything, but it seems like he does. It seems like he really, really loves these characters. I don't see why him or Deborah, you know, they're the perfect people to be the Kevin Feige's of these universe. I mean, look, I read something yesterday and I thought this was really interesting, right? They said Kevin Feige doesn't go home until midnight or past midnight on most days. And the first thought that came to my head is, I can almost guarantee you there is nobody working at DC. Nobody working at DC acting that way.
Right.
Maybe Zack, probably Zack was when he was working there. You know, that was it. I don't see anybody else giving these characters the love and the time and just the stories that they need to be told. I don't see anybody else doing it besides Zack on the DC side. So they're in desperate need of somebody who loves these characters like Zack does, like Kevin, like somebody who, you know, is like that, and they don't have it. They just don't.
Yeah.
And until they do, they'll never come close to any of the success that Marvel has had.
Yeah. So okay, now now we kind of move into some weird territory here.
Mm-hmm.
Fandom, right? The fandom happens. Fandom happens after. I'm talking about after the whole Justice League mishap, because I kind of just want to skip over that part. We all know it. So now they announce Zack Snyder's Justice League is happening, right? Mm-hmm. And we go to Fandom, and they also announce a lot of other stuff, a lot of other projects in that time period as well. We're finally getting Black Adam, right? You know, all that good stuff. But we're also getting. This is where they like to divide us, because they also announce a Batman movie that is not set in the DCEU, and it's going to have Robert Pattinson at the helm of it. Now, a lot of people are okay with this. I'm okay with it, but it has to be separate, right? It can't overshadow Ben's Batman, and it can't be the DCEU proper Batman. It has to be something different, right?
And very much like the Dark Knight was. It was its own thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm okay with it getting its own, like, if you want to do like an Earth 2 thing where there's a different Superman, like I think that's a good kind of, like, you know what, even if you wanted to do that J.J. Abrams Superman over there with Rob Pattinson's Batman, honestly, I'm okay with it. But you gotta leave the DCEU proper alone. Yeah. Because you need to give Warner and Discovery time to bring the Snyder Cut back, because you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot too early. Right. Mm-hmm. And if you start making stuff in the DCEU proper, you're going to eventually shoot yourself in the foot. Luckily, we have the Flash coming, and Ben's going to be in it. Ezra's in it, and then we're even here. What do you think about this rumor about Henry Cavill shooting cameos?
Of course,
seems a little too good to be true.
Seems too good to be true. Of course, of course, I want to believe it. I'm like, yeah, but I will say, one thing that caught my attention was on that picture was I think he definitely got a haircut or something. I don't know. That was the one thing that I was like, he kind of looks more like Superman than he has in the past couple of years, as far as like the hair, the shape. He's been shooting The Witcher a lot, so I think he actually did have longer hair for a little bit, and then he was shooting something else, and he had some facial hair, and now he's kind of back to clean cut, clean shaven Superman style. So that was my only thing that leads me to believe that. That's the only thing. Other than that, it would be a nice surprise for sure to see him when these movies come out.
Okay, and so word on the street is that Cavill's shooting cameos for not only the Flash but for Black Adam and Shazam.
And Shazam, yeah.
I wonder if his head will show up in Shazam this time.
You know what? I think probably out of all of those, the most sense makes Shazam. Because
me and Justice talked about it yesterday. He said Shazam. If there's one out of the three that's true, it needs to be Shazam.
It needs to be Shazam because that would be kind of messed up. That it kind of ended with like, oh really? You couldn't get him for like 3 seconds, 2 minutes. Just pop up.
They couldn't work the deal out the correct way.
Oh my gosh!
Because that's what Warner Brothers does.
Yep.
So now we're at a place right now, right, where now Shazam has come out, Birds of Prey have come out.
Yeah.
And that am I missing one? I'm missing one. No, I'm not missing one. Oh, in the Joker. But that's Joker. Not connected.
Yeah.
So Black Label. These movies come out, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, it's like a tone shift. Because when Zack was leading the DCEU, I knew where it was going. It had a consistent tone throughout. It had similar themes, similar tones, everything. But then all of a sudden, when Zack was gone, they changed everything. And now I really don't know where the DCEU is going. And I don't think that, like, it's kind of like the MCU is like, we kind of know where it's headed.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of mystery surrounding it now, but we know generally where this is going. And I think that we should know generally where it's going. Maybe not know everything, right? Yeah. That's part of the fun.
Sure.
But with DCU, I really don't know, like, what's our story going forward? Is there a villain that we're going to have to fight? Because Darkseid's already introduced, but if we just wipe that slate clean, then
now I'd like to say this, right? Because this tends to, I keep hearing stuff about this, right? Is Flashpoint going to erase Justice League and are all this stuff, I find it really, really hard to believe that Ben Affleck, who was done with Batman after Justice League, would come back in any form or capacity if Flashpoint in any sense erased what Zack was doing. One of the things that was interesting during this whole debacle with Warner Brothers, all of the filmmakers that Zack pretty much also brought on to start the DCEU, Patty Jenkins, Rick Famuyiwa, James Wan, all these people, they stuck by him, not by Warner Brothers. Whether you like it or not, Wonder Woman 1984, Patty Jenkins and everybody has been very clear that's in Snyder's timeline. Very and she was very clear, like she was not going to address or even like acknowledge the 2017 cut of Justice League.
Yeah.
So these filmmakers even were more about. So I would be, I would hope that Andy Muschietti's Flashpoint director is also one of them. I think David F. Sandberg. I don't think he's. I'm not sure actually. I don't know much about him, but I don't think he's against the Snyderverse in any way, shape, or form that I know of.
Right.
So I think at the end of the day, what would be kind of cool too is to just kind of see these directors just, do their own thing and they themselves make Zack Snyder's Justice League canon. It's not really something that Warner Brothers does. It's more that something that these filmmakers do. But I would be surprised, right, if they're going to completely erase that canon or that history or whatever, that I know people are assuming might happen.
Yeah. What's next on the list? What's next on the list that you would want?
I'll be honest, man. I really want a Man of Steel 2. Just give me like a really good Man of Steel.
I've had this argument.
Really?
And with you personally, it's not. We've already got a Man of Steel sequel.
Oh, man.
You want another solo Superman film, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Look, but see, I want to see. That's because I want to see this Superman take on things like Brainiac. And Metallo.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor in the suit.
Yeah.
In the kryptonite suit. And what's cool too is, like, you know, with the introduction of these other characters, like, it's cool to have them in the, like, Flash would be a cool person to have in those movies. Show up a little bit, you know. Or
I would love a Brainiac Superman solo film. Oh my god,
that's really
what I want. They kind of use some of the tech, like the Brainiac tech in Man of Steel. With like the ships and stuff.
Yeah,
which I thought was kind of cool because, like, it was it was so reminiscent of that. Like it was. I had just gotten done reading something with Brainiac in it, and I was like, wow, that looks really similar. And I was like, oh, that's because it was meant to be.
Well, and Snyder did say that the follow up or whatever, Man of Steel 2, whatever, you know, would be Brainiac. You know,
I would
be that.
Brainiac's such a, like. Did you ever watch Krypton?
I didn't. I hear great things about it, and I probably should check it out.
It's like corny in some parts, but they did Brainiac so well.
Yeah.
Really, really well. The Brainiac in Krypton's pretty good, and he looks good too. And the cinematography in that show is so good.
So is that like based off the Snyder stuff? Or
I mean, you can make a case for it, but no, because the Superman logo is totally different. It's like the older style Superman logo with like.
But the cinematography,
they put like the logo on the cape and everything.
Okay. So that was what was reminiscent to me, was the cinematography. That I was like, okay, this looks a little Man of Steel opening-ish.
Yeah.
Which I argue that's the other. You know what?
And Zod's black in it.
Here's that. That's kind of, I like that. I think that's cool.
So no. I mean,
I'll tell you what I really want next time. I want a Zack Snyder Krypton history movie. Just give me a whole movie on Krypton. I don't know about you. The opening, I think the opening 20 minutes of Man of Steel is his strongest opening. Yeah, I'll make that. Yeah, I think it's his strongest opening. I'm at the edge of my seat every single time. Just everything about it is epic. And it's only 20 minutes, and you're like, I can watch 2 hours of this. Like,
I thought, as far as Superman, like as far as wrapping up and
the origin
delivering
story.
you an origin story in less than a half hour.
Yeah,
it really did. It did so well with that.
Yeah,
because going into the Man of Steel, into the actual film right after the initial credit scene, you were like, okay, I'm good. Thank you for that. I needed that. Now let's put us into present day. And,
right.
The transition from the opening credits sequence
straight to him on the ship.
To him on the ship. It was seamless almost. It was like
Beautiful.
you knew it. And that's why I love Man of Steel so much, because it seemed like it was timed perfectly. Like the sequences were just one after another, just planned down to the second. And that opening sequence, like Justice and other people give it crap because it looks like Avatar. Well, it's like, dude, Krypton is literally a foreign planet.
What? He said that? Oh, I see. I didn't know he said that.
It looks like Avatar, and he even rides one of the same creatures from Avatar. It's like, no, like Krypton is a planet outside of our solar system.
Yeah,
and Superman came from there. It's like what is this, just like an Earth 2 copy where people are just walking around.
That was one of the things I loved,
day.
Man, is that Zack brought Krypton to life in a way that was just never been seen before. Never.
I frequently use that opening scene to test out new TVs and new sound.
Because it's visually one of the most just
That's what I use to test
I'm so waiting for the Man of Steel remaster. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait.
Yeah. So let's talk Man of Steel solo sequel.
Yeah.
So I think Brainiac, yes, would be a great choice. I think Brainiac would be the no-brainer choice, right? Brainiac is not only an adversary of Superman, but he is a direct match for him.
Yes.
there's you know, you got
100%.
you got Metallo and you know, like evil Superman,
Right.
Bizarro or
Mongol,
whatever. Yeah,
Mongo and
you have all
Lobo
those
and all that.
characters, but none of them really like. I don't think they adapt to film as well as Brainiac would.
Yeah,
Like,
no, Brainiac is so perfect. So perfect for film.
And he is terrifying. And he is like a world-ending threat.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you think about it, he's a supercomputer, basically. But with just 10 times more evil than you could imagine, a supercomputer, you know, like and like you said, he's the only one that can go toe to toe, I think, with Superman.
Yeah, and he really
one of the only few besides.
That's the thing, is he doesn't go toe to toe.
Yeah.
He doesn't physically alter, like he doesn't physically fight typically. He breaks you down and makes you kill yourself almost.
Yep.
It's like one of those kind of movie, like one of those villains who he turns you against yourself in ways, and then like for anyone who doesn't know, Brainiac captures worlds, right? And he stores them in his ships as like trophies. And that aspect of it's so cool.
Now let's talk about this. Where do you think it would fall in the timeline, or where it should fall?
After
third Justice League?
Yes, because that's the only place it could take. I don't know, actually.
I think you could do it. Zack's been kind of, he said that he can play around with it. He's been open that he can play around with the time frame between 1 and 2.
Okay, because
he has said that.
If now coming off of Zack Snyder's Justice League, our team is very a team. It's very much a team, right?
Yeah.
So if you do it after Zack Snyder's Justice League, which would make sense, the only thing that would make sense, I think 1 or 2 other members would have to show up in the solo film.
Yeah,
because you don't get Brainiac and just let Superman deal with it. Batman doesn't work like that.
Right, and that's the thing too. Also, like, if they were gonna do Brainiac now after introducing the Justice League, well, you might as well do Injustice full on, you know. But I don't know. I like the go ahead.
Finish that thought.
Oh yeah, so I like the idea. Yeah, I like the idea that I think Zack said he can play with the time frame between 1 and 5 years, between Justice League 1 and 2. So I kind of like the idea that they could fit that in that time frame. And still have, like you said, I agree, 2 other characters show up.
Yeah,
makes sense because they're part of the team. Like, oh hey guys, thanks for
dude. Brainiac's that's the thing about the solo films that I don't like.
Darkseid, you know, a good threat in between Darkseid. I think that would be good.
Like I said, that's what I don't like about some solo films is like they want to take these solo films to the next level, right? And it has to be like a world-ending threat for anybody to really like care. Because like tell me that you actually cared about the Ant-Man villain.
Not at all. I didn't care about
You know why? Because it wasn't world-ending. After we got things like Avengers and then even Captain America: Winter Soldier, where Hydra is doing their thing. Like those are villains. Those are like it's like end of the world
Ultron,
kind of stuff.
Man.
Yeah, Ultron. And then we get whatever the Bumblebee.
Bumblebee,
like dude, come
Shrinks
on.
Things.
Yeah, it's like come on, get that out of here. That has no significance to me because it doesn't seem like a threat that it's worth time.
No,
but anyway, before we get back to it, we just have 1 or 2 more words from sponsors. Guys, we will be right back after these messages with more Man of Steel, the solo sequel talk. We are brought to you today by Bonk's Bar in Philadelphia. Bonk specializes in seafood and good times. If you're in the Philly area, make sure to stop by, and on Tuesdays, our resident producer Jack hosts trivia at the bar. Mention Pop Culture Corner to Jack and receive your first drink on the house. For more information about the menu or specials, visit the website for Bonks or their social media pages. All of the links are in the description below. This was an easy one, guys. Head out, support your local service industry. Go to Bonks, grab some seafood, some beer and wine, play some trivia, and have a good time. We are brought to you today by Showcase Cinemas Deluxe. Right now, Mortal Kombat is in theaters, and we were live from inside the theater for all-day coverage of the film on April 23rd. Make sure to get out and support your local theaters now. See these larger-than-life movies the way they were intended, on the largest screen possible. Showcase offers X+, which is their large premium format theater. Not only do you see and hear the film, but you become a part of it as well. Find out where your local Showcase Cinemas is by heading to their website, www.showcasecinemas.com. Again, that's www.showcasecinemas.com, or by clicking the link in the description below. Remember, be Showcase safe. Showcase has implemented several protocols to ensure that your focus remains on the film, not on the pandemic, including new ventilation systems in each theater to ensure proper airflow, sanitizer on every wall, and so much more. Enjoy the movie the way it was meant to be, with a night out to the theater. All right. So, yeah, in order of timeline, I would definitely do, so maybe somewhere in between Justice League 1 and 2.
Right.
Or between 2 and 3.
Because
no, it couldn't be between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Because of what happens, supposedly what happens in 2.
Right.
Right.
We get full on evil Superman.
Yeah, it couldn't happen.
And I think that's the thing too. It would be nice for the audiences that aren't so crazy about this universe to get that Superman movie right, before that.
Right before all that stuff takes place. But do you think there's too much back and forth between bad and good Superman?
Actually, I kind of like that conflict. Again, when you think about it, it's a very different conflict than in the comics, right? But on film, on screen, I kind of like that. And it works because he's so fresh. He's like a brand new Superman. We all know, he's only been at this a few years and stuff. So you have an opportunity here to really, really make this character grow into something like I have a really epic franchise, I think.
Yeah. And to the only point here about the no cameos, maybe no Batman, but I really don't think you can get away with a Brainiac movie that doesn't have someone else in it. Because dude, Brainiac is literally, he's up there with Justice. He's a Justice League level villain.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
You have a hard time getting me to think that no other League member is available.
Somebody said, I love the idea of Flash and Cyborg being those two. I love that. Yeah. I think that would be great.
Like they're not, they're not the A-team together, but they have this
or that's a great introduction for Supergirl.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because depending on the Flash movie.
Yeah.
You could bring her in as well. That could make sense. Yeah, that would be good. Oh yeah. And they both know who he is because they've ultimately put him in the Phantom Zone, or Kryptonians put him in the Phantom Zone a long time ago. And they have, and you kind of get like this Wonder Woman like history lesson about who he is and what he's done to be so bad to end up in the Phantom Zone. And I think the tying in the Phantom Zone again, right, bring that Phantom Zone element back, like where Zod was, it seems like, all right, well, this Phantom Zone is where we kept these terrible, terrible villains that we had to deal with, or our ancestors had to deal with, and like they keep getting out, and that's why, they come for Earth because Superman's a Kryptonian, and he's he's the last Kryptonian.
In rewatching Man of Steel, it's funny, I forgot just how important he makes the Phantom Zone. It's a really prevalent part of the movie, and you think about it because you keep thinking back as to who else might be in the Phantom Zone, or who what. Yeah. There's just a lot of things that he plants seeds for with the Phantom Zone in the first Man of Steel that I think is brilliant. I think it's another thing that is like, man, this is so cool because he's really diving into little pieces that these older movies just kind of teased and stuff, and he's just going full on into it.
Yeah, and that's where I thought they were going to go with this. That's what I always thought they were going to go with. It was Supergirl, the cousin, the open pod in Man of Steel, and then they show it again in Zack Snyder's Justice League for like a literal brief second. they show it when the league's walking by it and the pod's still open. And like, that's something that Zack has said, that we were going to get a payoff for it. It just, again, we didn't get the time to do it because it wasn't a payoff that was going to happen immediately. It was going to be something that, like, it was like a callback almost. And I would have loved that. I would have loved that. It totally makes sense too. It really does. Like, it makes sense. Why put that there if not for some reason? Like an open pod, right? They make a big deal about all the other skeletons in them, and then there's one that's open, doesn't have anything in it.
Yeah.
You know? So
I love that.
You know, I think there's a good chance. Before we end today, what do you think the chances are? Literally, like the realistic chances. That Warner and Discovery decide this is something that's profitable.
Oh man, you know, I will say this: the merger gave me a lot of hope. It did. It
gave a lot of people hope.
It definitely made me look at the situation differently, right? Up until that point, I probably would have said there's absolutely no way that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Now it's very possible. Again, obviously, up until this merger, I probably would have told you I think Warner Brothers is going to end up dying.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, until this merger, if you asked me that question, I would have told you I don't think Warner Brothers will exist in 10 years.
See, that's tough. That's tough because I mean, me personally, I don't see Warner Brothers going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Simply just because of the stature that they have in film, but the way they were going was definitely declining.
That's the thing, man. They were sliding down so fast. You have so many big directors.
So bad.
So bad. And so many big directors and Hollywood actors. You know, one of the things I heard Denzel Washington was just pissed about the little things going on HBO Max. They had to shove out $20 million to him.
Well, that's what it's called, the little things.
Yeah.
Just as like talking about why can't I think of his name?
Jared Leto
Jared Leto. Yeah. Just like, oh, he just never hits the nail on the head, and he's talking about how Morbius is gonna suck, and it was like, no, he just hasn't had the scripts.
He's an Oscar winner.
Yeah, he doesn't have the scripts. Like, he's not in films that end up doing well, like the Suicide Squad. But Jared Leto as an actor is great.
He's he's an Academy Award-winning actor. Yeah.
And then the little things is the one I was trying to think of. Yeah, the little things is the one I was trying to think of because his character in that was so spooky. But like, you know, in a human way, it was just weird. It was great.
Yeah. Well, it was very realistic because you know those people exist. You know, you just know that those types of people are out there. It's just
real quick. So Integrity will bet $100 right now that Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 happens. I literally wrote about the shakeup being inevitable before the merger. Zack Snyder's Justice League is relaunching the Snyderverse.
Right.
Listen, I don't even want to bet against you because I want that to be true.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I really do. I do still think, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit before, is that, you know, there may be, you know, a bit of a time there's a time stamp on this, right? You know, probably, you know, 5 years you don't see this.
I say 2 years.
Really?
Because then you have another 2 or, you know, if we're doing Justice League 2 and 3 back to back, that's the only way it makes sense. Yeah. Right? That's a year of production each.
Yeah.
So you have 2 years to get this thing in the works. And then that's 2 years of production. And then 1 year.
Well, I would say probably about a year and a half of production. Because Zack was pretty far along for 6 months of work. You saw it was 4 hours worth of film.
Yeah.
I can get work done.
Yeah. I'd rather overshoot than undershoot. So I think you have 2 years to get it worked on.
Yeah.
Get it. Because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do. You got to
get production underway, basically.
Write scripts, or adapt scripts because maybe the whiteboards are out there, right? But you got to adapt scripts. You got to, you know, there's so much that goes into it. You got to make sure all the actors and actresses can time it well. In order to, I think, get this done the right way, you have 2 years from when Zack Snyder's Justice League comes out to get this into production before it's too late.
Yeah.
That's just my humble opinion. I could be
think
wrong.
So too. I pretty much agree with you. You know, yeah, I would say 3 years max for me. At the same time too, you look at these properties like Deadpool. I'm sure when Deadpool comes back, it's going to be about 5 years since the last one. Guaranteed it'll make $1 billion. And that's just the fan base. I think Zack has that much of a reputable fan base. I really, really do. I think with
Ben's
Zack
getting older.
that's the thing.
Older.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Gal
probably won't be doing this forever.
We just don't know what the future holds for these people, and God forbid like a tragedy or something strikes, right? Yeah. Like you just never know, and the longer you wait, the more of a chance of something going wrong. Yeah. And no one's gonna stick around forever to watch and see if DC and Warner Brothers gets it together. Right. I think people will come back for Zack, but not for Warner Brothers.
Absolutely. You do have to, kind of consider, obviously, like the deal itself probably won't be closed until next year, mid next year. So I highly doubt that we'll see any movement, right, over the next year in this, unless they can work things out to like where they can, go ahead and get things started on production or start hiring people. I mean, it seems like this would be something that the all new execs and the whole new company does and approaches, not any of the guys that are there now.
Yeah. And so that's my time frame. So you can't wait too long because you just can't. That's not how human bodies work. That's not how life works. That's just not how any of this works. So if 5 years from now they were like, yeah, let's do it. It's like, what? No.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
That's too much. There's too much time between a lot of movies. Like we already had to wait 5 years for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
or 4 years, whatever it was, 3 years.
It felt like 5 years, huh?
And then we had to wait another 5 for Justice League 2.
Yeah, and like you said,
8 years of waiting.
In between then, we'll have had the Batman, the Suicide Squad, Flashpoint, Shazam 2, Black Adam, Aquaman 2, Wonder Woman 3. It's just gonna be so weird, that I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, guys, let us know in the comments what you think would be a good route for Warner Brothers, Warner Discovery to take. Should they restore the Snyderverse, or should we all just drop it? Because that's a possibility too. We can't have everything we ever wanted, even though from the business side, it does make sense to bring Zack back. But is it something that's ever going to realistically happen? Think about it realistically and let us know in the comments below. Guys, this has been a really fun way to get back into the morning show. We'll be back again on Wednesday, tomorrow, Jiving with Jack at 4:30 with Austin and Jack. It's always such a good time. Right. So make sure to be there. There's going to be a lot of great topics, as well as, everything else that we do. We're going to start doing some more trivia each week. Or at least trying to work it out so we can do trivia each week on Friday night or Sunday night. I'm not sure what we've settled on. But guys, thank you so much, as always, for being a part of the Pop Culture Corner. It's truly you that makes us go round. Don't be afraid to send a super chat. Don't be afraid to send a sticker. Don't be afraid to smash the join button. Become a member. We have so much cool stuff coming for the members only. I think we hit 11 members now. We're getting everyone switched over from Patreon, which is easier said than done.
It is.
So much easier said than done.
So much easier said
than
it actually done.
But yeah, so we do it for you and we do it for the culture. I really had a great time today. Thank you guys all for coming out. The lights are off. The lights have gone out for the day. And we'll see you tomorrow. Make sure to like this video, share it with your friends on social media if you want to have more people to engage with in the chat. Guys, I can't stress this enough. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. We have a lot of stuff coming, like short planned videos or pre-recorded, if you want to call them that, and a lot more. So ring the notification bell so I don't have to update you. You can just know. Austin, Any parting words?
Like he said, ring that notification bell, become a member, follow, subscribe, share, tell your friends, your family. We love you guys. You guys are the best. We do it for you. We do it for the culture.
Make your dreams come true. Just do it.